I like watching anime, and one of those anime is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So I was thinking, what if I made a character whose kit was one of my favorite main characters from that show, being Josuke. Basically, he can break down stuff and repair it, and he can do that to people too, which makes him actually one of the more stronger characters, but he cannot heal himself. And originally, the main idea for Mystic was going to be able to break down like walls so he can push past stuff. But then after a while, I realized how hard that was going to be to actually put into the game. So I had to change up his kit a little bit. In Mystic, the magical fighter, his backstory goes a little bit like this. Essentially, it's one of Mirage's brothers, Elon. Mirage has two other brothers other than Elon. I guess Elon has Ricky, which is his twin, and then Roger, which is the older one. And essentially, they are stranded during the Frontier Wars, and they just can't really do anything as an IMC force comes in and kills Roger and Ricky. So Elon's left there, gets took into the phase, like what? I don't know what's called, the Wraith experiments. And there, he gains his powers. But, of course, he gets back up, and he has no memory. The only thing he has is a wallet of family photos. So, since he has nowhere to go, he turns to the Ricks Foundation, which is kind of like Walmart, but with bounty hunting. It's like charity. Like, you don't have a place to stay? Well, okay, be a bounty hunter for a little bit, and we'll let you stay here. And so, that's how he gets into the Apex games eventually. And as I said, he was supposed to be this really strong breacher, but I had to change his passive because his passive was a little convoluted, and this passive is slightly less convoluted. So basically, his passive called Helping Hand, he can heal with small heals. So he can syringe and shield cell and still have his guns out. He would suffer a 50% move penalty, but I'm thinking he can also climb up walls. So basically, he has the same movement. He has all these options, but he just moves about, half as fast. Also, when he's climbing up, and when you climb up something and you do one little last jump before you start falling off it? Yeah. When he does that little jump, a hand will reach up to 2 meters to grab another ledge for him to go on. And if he was not actively healing it or healing with it, the hand will protect his midsection, covering about 15% of his character hitbox. And it will just protect him while he's aiming down sights. And it will function just like Gibraltar's gun shield. And basically, this arm, when it gets shot, this arm has 40 health, right? And it will heal at 3 health a second when not in use. And when it goes down, it'll take 10 seconds before it goes back up to 1 health. And then it'll begin to regenerate. So, he's not overpowered with this arm because he needs it for the entire passive to work, right? Because if it's down, he just doesn't have a passive. So it's very easy to counter him, just shoot his arm while it's healing him, or while it's blocking, or while it's helping him climb up stuff, and then he just won't have a passive. Now, I think this passive is probably either going to be one of the best passives or one of the more weaker ones, just because of how many other passives it has in it. Also, the fact that he can just be out of passive for 20 seconds. Now, his tactical, like I said, it used to be able to break through walls and ceilings and stuff, but now all it does is basically he uses an arm to uppercut through a door, or not a door specifically, but it's uppercuts. And this breaks through doors, does damage to enemies, and will knock them back. This will knock them back 3 meters, and the punch itself will do 35 damage. And this has a cooldown of 35 seconds. And this is probably one of the more straightforward parts of his kit, and it takes around the same time as a punch, because that's pretty much what it is. It's just an upgraded punch. And this would add some utility, especially because I'm thinking it would be able to instantly destroy like defensive stuff. So you could run up to a Watson pylon and destroy it immediately. So your enemies won't have like its trophy system. Or like a rampart wall or a caustic barrel on a door, you can break that and just run in. So for his ultimate, Guardian, he summons a second arm to aid him in his passive and tactical, and it also instantly replenish his other arm if it was destroyed or just back to full health. And this will just kind of buff his tactical and passive. Essentially, this will allow for big healing use from Helping Hand, and he can jump 4 times higher when either arm isn't in use. So basically, he'll jump by slamming both arms down on the ground. And a Ghostly Bash will use 2 arms instead of 1, and each arm will have 60 more health. And this will have a cooldown of 3 minutes. Allowing him to bust down walls more effectively, or not walls, but bust down doors and defensive equipment much more effectively, can be very strong, especially since it does 70 damage immediately. I mean, yeah, sure, it's a punch, but come on, it's very strong. And the thing is, this left arm, it will stay with him until it gets shot. Or it's not shot, until it gets destroyed. So he can have this ult, use it, and have his second arm the entire rest of the game. And yes, while he is aiming down sights, it would help protect more of his body, around 30% of his hitbox. So he basically becomes a beast and can take 200 damage from the front, making him a bit more of a tank. But I'm thinking, of course, there are things that could block this, such as Revenant Silence. A Crypto EMP would also instantly destroy any arm in use. So he's not completely overpowered. And that's going to be it for Mystic, the Magical Fighter. And once again, tell me if you like him, tell me if you hate him, and that's going to be all.